Sir, back to the rice farming.
Yeah.
Two things are key. One is the National Irrigation Board, and secondly, we have the Southwest Rice Irrigation Farmers, who are about 10,000 in number. In fact, the largest in Eastern Central Africa, and feeding a household of almost 300,000. In Netherlands, farmers, on the other hand, are the most honored and the most wealthy. In a part of the land, they are the ones who are struggling. What do you have to say about this?
That is mainly because the returns to labor or the returns to work growing rice in Kenya is much lower than it is in the Netherlands or elsewhere, because their farmers get very high returns for their agricultural production. And in this case, it is due to two things. One, the cost of production, the inputs, the costs are rather high. And secondly, the access to the market. You see, if you produce this rice and then you are held hostage by the purchaser of monopolies at this one, you have no alternative than to sell the single market, then you really have very little control of that. Unless that single market is the state, and the state is interested in giving you high returns, then the state will make sure that you get high returns. In any case, by the way, in most of the Western countries, farmers are subsidized. In France, they are. In the US, they are, by the way, because they're subsidized in many ways, either because certain taxes they don't pay or certain inputs they buy at very subsidized prices and so on. So, since agriculture is one of the most difficult enterprises to capitalize, capitalizing an enterprise means you reduce the cost of labor. And when you reduce the cost of labor, the cost of production goes down. Agriculture is very difficult. There's only an extent to which you can capitalize agriculture. In other words, you can use machines. So it will be labor intensive and it will be costly. So we as a country must understand that in order to encourage the production of more rice, we have to put money in agricultural production. The Kenyan government did it by saying, okay, we shall use the National Irrigation Board. But the National Irrigation Board itself became an albatross around the neck of rice farmers by its inefficiency, bureaucracy, and really not taking the farmers as the center stage, but taking themselves as the center stage. In other words, they run irrigation on their terms rather than on the farmers' terms. Now, this is something that we must deal with.
Joshua, you are a fish farmer. Professor has just said that the cost of production is one of the many challenges that we have access to the market. You agree?
Thank you very much. Professor, as you said as well, the most challenge in fish farming is water. Most farmers and feeds. But first of all, if you want to start fish farming, you must find enough water so that you can start fish farming. And at times, farmers start fish farming with maybe a small quantity of water. Then before harvesting, the water level goes down, and in that way, the traders is coming very up. Then they end up losing a lot of fish.
Professor, you've heard what Joshua has just said.
Yeah.
In terms of fish, this.
But cage farming is not that complicated. It's simply what you say is cage farming. In other words, you get a cage, put it in the water, and put fish in there. So rather than fish wandering in the open sea or in the pond, you have a lake environment in which they breed and grow, and you feed them in that cage. You see, cage farming is much better than pond farming. Because in cage farming, you are growing the fish in their natural habitat, in the lake. In pond farming, they are on land, and it depends on that water, which is very different from the water. That water doesn't have the input of the kind of weeds that you find in the sea, the kind of Yeah, because the lake water there, all kinds of an environment is very different. So even when you taste the water from the lake, it tastes very different. No, I mean the water. If you taste the fish from the lake, it tastes very different from pond produced fish. It doesn't taste really very different. So you will find that one of the reasons why pond farming, fish pond farming, did not really succeed in this area during the coalition government because you grow the fish in the pond, people come and buy it. They go to the market, buy the one from the lake. This one is different. You see what I mean? Whereas up country where people don't have much access to fish, lake fish, freshwater fish, they will accept pond fish very easily, big hotels and so on. So here, I think, where you have our lake, I would like to encourage cage farming. Why? Because in cage farming, you are controlling the volume of fish that you're producing. You are under the control of the farmer. In fishing in the lake, it depends on fish availability. Like now, our lake is affected by environmental degradation, hyacinth, and so on. And we must deal with those first before the quantity of fish increases. That's one major thing that we must do. In the meantime, we must pass laws that safeguard cage farming and also create security for cage farming. If you ask the cage farmers, they will tell you that they have to group themselves in groups so that they can manage keeping the security there. And very soon you may easily find vandalism in cage farming, where some fishermen go at night rather than try and get their fish from the lake. They go and raid the cages. Those are some of the things we as a county must do to encourage cage farming. But experience has shown in both Lake Victoria and other outlier lakes like the one in Alego that cage farming is extremely profitable.
Yeah. Professor, in your manifesto, this brings out an aspect that 10 factories have been shut down for inadequate supply of 9 patch. Could the cage farming be a solution?
Yes, definitely. But see, again, the kind of fish there's some fish which will find a cage, another confining. I don't know. We have to do the study. But I would think that 9 patch, even the 9 patch, that would be fish.
Yes. Yeah, it's only like the stocking breaks.
Yeah.
It's coming down.
It's not coming down. Yeah. So we must deal with that. I mean, it is very possible to begin doing research and producing fingerlings in large volumes. There is a guy who is coming up with a factory here near Kibuza. I met him the other day. And he is hoping that he can produce even 4 million fingerlings a day in the future. Now, that's the kind of person who contract to produce fingerlings, which are then released into the lake.
And that's what Professor is saying.
Yeah.
Cage fish farming is one of the best. You know their control. You are able to, they are fed there, you can estimate how long they're going to grow and be ready for the market. In addition to that, under the cage, remember the fish that will be coming for the spillage.
The spillage,
it's growing there. So apart from the one that you are caged, then those that are going to be under the cage, that's going to actually double even the production.
To sum up this topic on cage farming, perhaps you could help the viewers understand, is this cage farming done on sand ponds or we do it on Lake Victoria?
In Lake Victoria. Okay. A fish pond is like a cage.
Fish farming you can do in the lake or in the river.
Yes.
And in addition to that, Mr. Peterson, one of my prayers, actually I've been longing to meet Professor on this because I believe his policies. The only disadvantage that you have had for the last 1.5 years is that you have never capitalized on fish farming in Kisumu County. One, at the moment we are importing fish from China. Now the fish that we are importing from China, we don't know even in terms of health security, we cannot tell. So we're just consuming them. And now
if Prof has got a policy of doing catfish farming, and I believe that is going to create employment opportunities, because once we do it in larger production, we are able also to do a plant that can process fish here, so that we get it from the lake, it is processed here, and it is packaged and sold there. So you can just imagine during the value addition chain, a number of these are going to be employed in, and therefore we're going to actually reduce the unemployment rate that we are currently experiencing in Kisumu. That is one area that we have never exploited, but I believe Professor and his team are able to do that. If they can do that, so that we are able to process our fish here and we sell out elsewhere, that will be better for us.
What is he saying is important. 2005, I brought the Cuban ambassador to Kisumu. Pedro's, his name, remember? So we went to the lake. First, we went to the railways workshop, which was, in its time, was one of the best after Nairobi. It was very well equipped. It did a lot of things. We were actually making boats and repairing ship here in Kisumu. The only other port that was doing that was Mwanza on the lake. Mwanza is still doing it our died. We had a dry port here. So Pedro said, one of the things we can do is help you, because Cuba is an island and it thrives a lot on its ports and on the fishing. You remember the old man at the sea? Yeah, that no. Yeah, it was based. You read it. Who is the author's name? I can't remember. He actually lived and died in Cuba. And it tells you the importance of fishing in Cuba. Now, what Pedro was saying, why don't we persuade Maseno University to start a fisheries and marine engineering course? That's really low. A fisheries and marine engineering faculty, which will do the kind of things my brother here is saying. Do serious research in fishing and fisheries, but also do something about marine engineering. You see, the two are related, because marine engineering will relate to sailing and really and how to do research regarding environmental degradation and so on in the lake and all that. So I talked to the Vice Chancellor of Maseno University, very interested. I talked to the Minister for Education then, who was Saitoti, who was very interested. I even wrote a letter which Saitoti responded to in a very positive manner. But of course, then we left the government in 2005, and nothing has ever come about that. I would like to pursue that, because unless we have a strong research component on fishing and marine engineering on Lake Victoria, it's going to be very difficult to have the knowledge, indigenous knowledge, locally developed knowledge, to revive the lake, clean it up, sustain aquatic life in the lake, and increase the production and the variety of fish we have. This is to me, this is something a must-do thing, and that's why in our manifesto we say we're going to work very closely with the research institutes and universities in the country, because in the US, universities work with government to supply government with know-how, and government give them contracts to do some research or something that the government wants to do. In our case, the university exists as if they are fourth, sixth, seventh distant cousins of government.
Thank you for that contribution. Back to you, Moses. You are a veterinary doctor. Research has come out as one of the key aspects that will be the cornerstone of agriculture in this coming government. Now, one key area that we should expound is on the extension officers. We used to have extension officers who used to walk up and down. Nowadays, we don't see them. Secondly, we used to have cattle beats. Where did they go to?
Well, that has been a major challenge. Let me start with the cattle dips. cattle lifts were there some had been privatized. The government actually pulled out and now left it upon the farmers to manage it on their own. Now the challenge with that is that we are like in Kisumu. I want to talk about Kisumu region, county. We find a big challenge in keeping livestock, more so improved improved dairy cattle or dairy cattle that are being brought into Kisumu. The challenge that comes with that is that most of these animals are prone to tick-borne diseases. And tick-borne diseases, like the dairy cattle, they hardly survive in regions that ticks are not controlled well. So they end up dying, or the cost of treating some kind of diseases like East fever and anaplasmosis, is very high for the farmer. So I think the county, I don't know the new policy, but I think the county government should come up with a way of, even if not really building dips, but spraying races where animals can, in a given area, maybe count some of that way for bring the animals, so that we are able to control ticks. And once we are able to do that, we are able to improve on our breeds, and we can also bring in other breeds that are higher in terms of production. Now, in terms of extension work, I think again the onus is with the government, because the common man cannot actually get the services from private one. Remember it was privatized. So there are no extension officers to go and educate farmers on new farming technologies, challenges on how to, and even how to mitigate those kind of challenges. So again, the county government needs to employ more extension officers who are going in the field there to educate farmers and also to advise them on how to do their business in terms of farming.
Professor Moses has raised a very fundamental aspect in terms of a vet field being privatized and the government pulling out. What do you think about this?
I think this whole craziness about privatization was very unfortunate in this country. Because when it came, we thought that we are a developed country where the market can regulate production and sales and so on. The government can just be equipped with security and administration. It's wrong, by the way. Remember, I told you that agriculture is in capital society one of the most difficult sectors to capitalize by its very nature. And where technology is inserted from abroad, or where the factor inputs for developing technological product is highly important, technology products are going to be of necessity expensive to the farmer, like veterinary services. Because the guy who gives you veterinary service, I know we have one in Kombewa who comes to my home in London to deal with our cattle, great cows. He will serve you at his terms because he's the only one. And he also tells that he buys these medicines at drugs at high prices. So you yourself as a farmer, you don't know the price of the drugs. You yourself as a farmer, you have no other recourse when your cattle, this is the one person that will therefore know. So you are at the mercy of the farmer. He provides the service you need, but at a cost that you have no control over. So I myself, my mother was pretty able to breed cattle. But it is me who bears the cost. So employs the herdsman who keeps them there. I mean, they're nice to look at, but whether the economy makes sense, i.e. the milk they produce and sell, gives a return for the money you put in, I don't know, because I never do that arithmetic. But I do it because it's a good hobby. And it's something the family has been doing for a long time. But when I see that experience of ours, I look around and say, how many other people breed cows? Very few. One teacher there, one pastor there, one shopkeeper. So that then, if there are that few, how much milk is produced to warrant milk processes plant, like in Rwanda? But during colonial times, by the way, we used to bring milk from my home to Kisumu, KCC depot, on bicycle. And the milk processor was here because it was enough milk production. Now in those days, as he says, the colonial government was very particular about extensive services. They used to come and actually force you to pay your account. And during that thing, you pay periodically. So me, I think Catholics are very for this whole idea of privatizing the thing. I think something that we in the county should do away with it. Veterinary services, agriculture is now under the county government. The county government should itself pass out on how to manage agriculture and dairy production and decide that in the sugar belt, for example, is a good area for dairy production. The climate is good. Animal feed should be plentiful because you can get molasses from the factories. Okay, you can grow napier grass along with the sugar cane. You see what I mean? So the environment is good for having very good dairy farming in the sugar belt, and some people do it. Now, if you encourage it with those smallholders in the sugar belt, and then you open up a milk processing plant. I think this used to be one many years ago in Moroni, in the 1960s. You know, these guys were going to the so, I mean, definitely we can increase dairy production, milk production, which is the same with poultry production too. We import our eggs from Uganda, imagine. Yeah, we import our eggs from Uganda. And in local families, in the old days, you used to have your hen, your egg, and your cock all in one yard. When you need a egg, it is there. When the visitors come, the cock is there. You see? But now, of course, that kind of domestic production of poultry is also gone down. But the potential is there. All we need to do is create an environment that will encourage people as private individuals to enter poultry production and milk production, and it can be done.
Professor, you touched on the issue of sugarcane production again, and you keep on recurring in the conversation. So, two things come out and are glaring. Number one is our sugar industries are not performing very well as it is. Is it a question that we need more capital injection or debt write-offs? And then our factories, the machines are grounded and they are obsolete. And how do you want to go about it in terms of revitalizing that wonderful industry that we have cherished as a country?
But you know, the basic principle of technology needed in transforming cane into its other byproducts or the other products like sugar, table sugar, white sugar, and beverages and chemicals and pharmaceuticals and so on. Because you know, from sugar comes anything. If you go to Cuba, you find you have about 10 or so more byproducts from sugar. And the Cuban economy depends very much on sugar for its pharmaceuticals, for its detergents, for everything, which we don't have here. Here we only have agrochemicals, which produce a few things, ethanol and so on. So one thing is that we have not exploited our sugar production to the full or into producing industrial products, which limits the kind of money that you give to the farmer. Because you think white sugar is produced by the money. If the money is there, it's not being produced. Okay. But that's the refined sugar for industrial use. Now, what we must do first, the fact that the machines are obsolete is a fact. Deal with it. Either improve the machines, because you can improve machines to make them more efficient, because the basic technology is the same, there are certain things you need to introduce. Or you bring in new machines and declare this one's obsolete and go on, just write them off. So the efficiency of processing the sugar must be improved so that it reduces the cost of production. That is real. But secondly, you must improve the production of sugar and how much it costs. Now, there are two things that are important. If your cane takes longer in the field to be taken to the factory, you as a farmer, ipso facto, incurs a high cost for production. Because one, you have sunk labor in it. It is not harvested in time. You keep on looking after it. In the meantime, the sucrose content is going down because the sugar is becoming older. When you take it to the factory, you get less. It means that if you compare what you get, is to make sure that when the cane is ripe, when the sucrose content is at its highest, it is taken to the factory as swiftly as possible. It does not stop in the way. with the lorry or the tractor because it has rained. Because if you stop there for a day or two, the citrus quantity will go down, the farmer is paid less. I'm a farmer and I know this. So that sugar cane must arrive in the factory pronto, as quickly as possible, so that the farmer gets good return for his cane. So that means that if you go to the sugar belt, you find that two things are missing. One, transportation of the sugar to the factory is hampered by poor roads and weather. You can cure that by introducing light rails, by the way, which is not expensive. That is what is done in Jamaica, in St. George's and Nevis, in Brazil, even here in Sudan. So you put light rails to transport sugar to the factory to make sure that when it is harvested, it reaches the factory in real time, so that you avoid this what is called post-harvest losses.
Okay, now, you have the potato. I mean, and you just
just in the region, we have a lot of fashion.
Yes, I know. Yeah. So, just to help us, he just talked about that element of sugar.
Yes.
Are the obsolete machines causing high cost of production, or is there a non-attribution factor that is contributing to that? What do you say?
Thank you, Idris. I think there are a lot of factors which are causing a lot of challenges in sugar production. The first thing is about the cost of inputs. And it's not only the cost of the input, it's using the right inputs. For example, the fertilizers. The farmers are, first of all, they cannot access the fertilizers in time because, as Prof has said, the cooperatives are not working. Yes, that's true. They cannot access the fertilizer. But again, if they can access the fertilizer, they are using the wrong fertilizers. If I would tell you something about sugarcane requires a lot of potash, which none of the farmers here is using. And potash is what increases the sucrose content of the sugarcane. Most farmers are using a fertilizer called DAP and maybe urea. DAP has a potash content of 0. Urea has 0. And for each ton of sugarcane removed from the soil, 2.4 kilos of potash is removed. So if an average production of 60 tons, for example, the current average production, which is way below what countries like Brazil are producing, just calculate for yourself the amount of potash you remove from the soil. We are removing a lot of potash from the soil and adding 0. That is one of the causes. Another thing is about the correct variety to plant. We are planting varieties which are taking up to 18 months. So the farmer is busy waiting for the 18 months. That the farmer incurs a lot of production because of the maintenance. So for the county government, I think what they would help the farmer do, let us look for the right variety, look for the right farm inputs to apply in the soil. And in order to reduce the labor so that the cost of producing sugar can becomes easy, then we need to try to mechanize. I also use things like herbicides to control the weeds, so that the farmer will not go to the field to start weeding on his own or incur a lot of labor. A lot of labor trying to weed the sugar. I think these are some of the things we really need to invest on as a county.
This is right. Very right.
Thank you. He's brought up an interesting aspect. These are the cooperatives and what we used to call the growers institution. Most of them are dead. What do you think about this?
You know why they're dead? There are two factors. One, cooperatives managers, I will be very frank with you, became corrupt and became very authoritarian over the farmers. I was a farmer, I know that. You go to the cooperative, you have harvested your cane, you are taking it to the factory. You go there to corrupt your money. Gradually started losing faith in cooperatives. I started demanding, by the way, that they deal directly with the farmer. But this was in the interest of the factory too. Because when you're dealing with single farmers, their power is less. You see what I mean? When you are a cooperative, they have the more power, more bargaining power. I was at Chennai just the other day, where there is the workers were not being paid. Why was the workers not being paid? Because the factory was not working. It needed to be maintained. The spare parts bought was still in the past. They're not being paid for. They could not be released. So the factory could not work. In the meantime, the factory was also saying that, well, it can crush some cane, but there was very little cane because the government removed zoning, so people can come as far as Western Sugar Company to come and buy cane here and take it over there. You see what I mean? So it's kind of a vicious cycle. So I said, well, the most immediate thing is to pay the workers, pay the farmers. We need a subsidy from the government. So I went to talk to the farmers and they agreed to do that because workers are literally withdrawing their kids from schools. It's a very, very sad situation. So I agreed at the end of this month, we pay both the farmers and the workers. But that is just a temporary solution. The long-term solution is what he's saying. One, organize production properly, which is not rocket science. It's just giving you what to do. Secondly, organize transportation to the factories properly, which is not rocket science either, because rather than use the roads, which you have to maintain at a very high cost and cannot rely on them when it rains, by the way, because the lorries transporting cane are very heavy, so you really need a strong base to avoid sinking into the ground when it rains. The only solution is light rain. And why we have not been doing it for all these years? Because even as a small nation as Georgia's and Memphis, light rain. And it's a very simple thing. It's a tractor on wheels dragging wagons behind it. Those wagons can be made here in the Bakari sector. The tractor can be bought at CMC and you get it, the Polytechnic boys can put wheels on them and anyway, you don't need to import it from anywhere. I saw it in St. Kitts and Nevis. Yeah. So you take those things to the factory and you reduce the cost of production. You'll make it more efficient. And so, and the factory then will, and then another thing we have to do in the sugar, we have to introduce zoning. Agriculture is now a county function. The national government cannot impose zoning on us as a county. Personally, I'm going to, as a governor, talk to all my fellow governors who are sugar economy, and we say we want boys, we reintroduce zoning. Another question.
No, on that, I don't know. Professor, it is true that at the moment a lot of sugar that is consumed in our county, it does not really come from our county.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It comes from outside.
Yeah.
Probably.
Uganda, yes.
I don't know whether what you are consuming good. I'm sure that sugar that is consumed, a bigger percentage is coming from.
But the first thing we do is that much increase our production. You see, remember when these factories have been doing Sony, Bomias, they do their sugar and they package them. And they label Sony, they label Bomias. Moroni used to do it, by the way. You could go to the supermarket and find a sugar label Moroni. It's no longer there because they don't grow. So, look, producing sugar in our county and selling into our counties, it's a responsibility. It can be done. Yeah, you only need to be available. You see, and the supermarket will buy it. And we can't tell the supermarket, we must give the first line of priority to local production. If you're producing vegetables, don't import vegetables from Nakuru. Buy them from here. And that was the whole point behind having the fresh produce market that the coalition government was encouraging. Because we tell you, if Nakuma says, but why do I buy it? It's a fresh produce market in Kibuye. Every morning, like the Ukulima market in Arusha, every morning traders will go around the country, buy the vegetables, bring them to the Ukulima market or the Buye market, and if you are Nakuma, send your people there to go and buy it. And the county government will guarantee the hygiene. The Kisumu urban project had at one of its components improving the Jubilee market, the Tongolo market, and the Kibuye market, so that they are modern markets with proper sanitation and environmental standards. I mean, you can't go to a market where you don't have running water, you don't have toilets, you don't have proper sewages. You are sitting on a disaster. That you are not surprised that yesterday I read that cholera is becoming a major crisis in Kisumu. You know, because if you see sewages everywhere, Mount Ranguma over there, you are just sitting on cholera, that's about to happen. Yeah.
Dominic, see, whenever Professor speaks, it's of clarity of mind and understanding. And you can easily demarcate his thoughts, or his contribution. And you look at marketing. In area of priority, which one do you think is best fit for the county government to take?
They are all important, but personally as an agronomist, I think we must improve on our production.
Yeah.
Production should be the first thing in the very short term. For us to improve production, the county government, in collaboration with the national government, should find a way of helping the farmer with fertilizer subsidy, generally farm input subsidy. The national government has not, did not do is testing our soils to know what are the best varieties to grow, what is the right farm input to use in order to improve our production. So in terms of priority, I think we must start with improved production. I think immediately you send to power, this is one thing we should look at critically. Yes.
Sure. You know, Dominic, soil chemistry. A friend of mine, whom I grew up with, went to Sweden, Uppsala University, as a chemist. He got a PhD in soil chemistry.
Wow.
PhD in soil chemistry. I was wondering what is all this. But now I know the importance of soil chemistry. In my own home, by the way, I was growing bananas. Then I realized one part of that bananas were very white, but the other part was very white. I said, why this thing? Then the guy said, you haven't done soil chemistry test here. And soil is very dark. If you are doing the wrong thing, you should not grow bananas here. Grow it there. And if that's limited, do it just there and move to something else. Even in the same farm, you may find that you have different types of soil. And it was quite understandable because my home is built at the edge of the Maseno Plateau, going down to the lake plateau, the lake basin as it were. My family home is entirely on the lake plateau. So there you can grow the same thing everywhere. In mine, you must distinguish between the soil which sits on the Maseno Plateau side and the soil which is affected by the lake basin soil texture. You see, it's very different. Down here, they are maize that's very poorly, whereas on the Maseno Plateau thing, which has a different soil system, red soil and so on, they do very well. Now, unless farmers get the extension services where somebody comes and does soil test and tells you what type of crop to grow, you people will be laboring day in, day out and getting very poor returns. Like you look at these people near the lake in Seme, growing maize, and why are you wasting your time? Our output per acre is going to be so low. You'd rather do cotton or millet. You do better. So this is why extension service is so important as an input to agricultural production.
Joshua.
Yes.
Once upon a time, Kisumu was known also for cash crops, and we are so much leaned towards consumption other than profit maximization. We're thinking in that line. We had cotton just the other day, and right now that industry has gone under. What do you think about this?
What, cotton?
Yes, for the cash crop generally, as opposed to food crop. Should we encourage much more of wood crop or cash crop?
Should.
Crop. And in terms of your policy and the manifesto, what would be a priority, food crop or cash crop?
I think, well, the priority must be food crop, of course, but we cannot forget the cash crop. I mean, like cotton.
Yes.
You know, the reason why cotton price got reduced in Nyanza in particular, one because of the action that cotton went to the seed marketing board, so the parastatal, which was not giving farmers payment in time. You had 8 years before they paid. Yes. So people just lost interest. And then cotton went to the seed marketing board during the days of privatization. About it. I don't know how the Ministry of Agriculture is managing cotton now. But mind you, the price of cotton in the international market has gone up. Cotton also disappeared because cotton textiles could not compete with mitumba and artificial textiles. You know. So if you want to buy a cotton shirt, it was very expensive, but if you get a shirt looking equally like the cotton shirt at a much cheaper price in Gikomba. So the synthetic textiles, they look like cotton, but of course they're not as high quality as cotton, but people prefer them because they're cheaper, the look is not that different. Now the price of cotton in the international market has gone up. And now there's also a new craze in cotton shirts and cotton products. Globally, by the way. Yeah. It is now prestigious to have a cotton thing rather than a synthetic thing.
Cotton synthetic.
Yeah.
Fish feed or animal feeds. We use a lot of
cotton
synthetic.
Cotton is also important. It's a big thing. The seeds and so on. Cotton is also important like oils. So now, I would really encourage cotton growing, even in the sugar belts. You know, here in the Kenya, you can really grow cotton very well in Sembe, in Nyakaji. So I intend to introduce cotton growing because another good thing with cotton, it is harvested after 3 months. Sugar, now you wait at least for 12 months.
Apart from 8 months.
Yeah. So if that's the case, then if the factor inputs are competitive, let's say that the factor inputs for growing cotton are competitive, the same as for growing sugar, then I'd rather grow cotton because as opposed to sugar, cotton is much more labor intensive. It has always been so since the history of slaves in South America. Because you see, when you're harvesting sugar, you go there with panda chop, throw it in the thing, one by one. You know, it's like picking, it's like tea, by the way.
It also provides massive effort.
Yeah, massive employment. Okay. But since the price of cotton in the national market is that high, the cost of labor will not be that bad because you get very high returns for it. So I think that our agronomists like Dominic must now come in the county government and do thorough research and fact real hard as opposed to sugar. Or you don't need to do that. The complementarity of growing sugar as well as cotton. Yeah.
Dominic, at a scale of 1 to 5, would you rate where would you place cotton in terms of priority? If it was to be handled by the county government?
If cotton was to be handled by the county government, I'll put cotton to be a key crop. I'll give it a number 3. 3. Yes. Not that is important, but again, we also need to focus on food crops first. And I wanted to add something about food crops. You know, the moment you produce food crops so effectively, you are going to have bumper harvest, and the surplus you can sell. So, the food crop could also become a source of income for some. So then after that, we invest in some other commercial crops, for example, sugarcane, which you can interchange with cotton depending on the research we do and buy which is the best. And another thing I wanted to add about cotton, which Professor I think you need to be keen on this here, is if in terms of growing of cotton, let's not look at, for example, the collapse of Kisumu as one of the reasons why cotton stopped. Yes, it stopped. But right now, if we decide to invest, we must decide to invest in cotton, according to me. The price in the international market of cotton is so good that we should encourage our farmers to do cotton, basically to export.
Yeah.
Yes, let's not, countries like China, there's a lot of huge demand for cotton. So if we grow cotton, we encourage our farmers to do cotton. There's a big market over there. Yes. So people who are export, get your money readily, and then you buy maize from these countries easily produce. Yeah, I think this is the best.
That's the thing to do. He's right. You see, it's very right. Growing cotton for export is very, very right. And I think that's the direction we must go. You see, to begin with, people may be conservative because the last time a cotton was grown in your village, it was before you were born. So now you are the farmer. They say, now what is this? So to begin with, people might be very, but then you have to begin having demonstration farms. Like this week we have a agricultural show. Unfortunately, I'm not going this time. I always go to close it on Saturday, but because of campaigns, I cannot go. If you go to this agricultural show, it is fantastic. It just shows you the potential of agriculture in this country. It's just fantastic. You go and see things there you don't think can grow in this country. And they tell you why, when you do certain things, you can get those crops. So Dominic is right. If the farmer is encouraged to see the possibility of growing cotton, okay, what we need to do is not to wait until your agricultural show. The county government should decide which are the areas in which there's potential for growing high return cotton. Okay, then you go there and just take up 1 acre and do a demonstration farm. And now that we're going to have village councils, which we don't have now, we instruct the chairman of the village council and the village administrator to take farmers to that demonstration farm, and we can have 1 demonstration farm per constituency. So that farmers go to that farm and they are told. You see, now we have a farmers training center in Maseno. You don't expect all farmers from Kisumu County to go to Maseno, but you can devolve. This is what the evolution is here. You can devolve that farmers training center, okay, into demonstration farms in the constituencies, so that you give direction to the village council that you have a slot to bring your farmers to the demonstration farm on this day. That is now your responsibility. Pick those who are interested, bring it. You have assigned you the village council, so that they take turns coming to that demonstration farm. After that, then the farmers can fill a form, those who are interested in growing cotton. And then they go, okay, now you have to fill a form. The county government is going to give you seed money to start for cotton growing, okay? Or the first crop you will be given free seeds or highly subsidized seeds. Free things sometimes people also don't get committed. Yeah, subsidized seeds, okay? In the meantime, people like Dominic will have helped us establish very good extension service, okay? In agriculture to deal with things like this.
So, Prof, what is coming out is that agriculture is basically a backbone.
Yeah.
Because from agriculture, we are able to make extra income. We don't have to depend solely on the 15% the government is giving, so that we can be seen to be moving.
Definitely. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. Maybe I shouldn't call it a sword. A double-edged coin. On the one hand, the county government puts in some money to encourage agricultural production. On the other hand, when the production goes up, these people are able to pay taxes to the county government. And they will not feel it because they're not rich. If you are rich, you can afford to go to a restaurant and eat without looking at your receipt. How much money will I tax have I paid? I'm not salary, so the tax you avoid paying. You just pay it because you can afford it. Likewise with the farmers, if they're getting money from their farm produce, they don't mind how much money they pay to the county government for rendering services because they made the money. But when they're not making the money, they will not like to pay without seeing the services you provide. Yeah.
We allow Alkidelia, right? Yes. Tell me, in terms of irrigation, do we have to actually work on that?
Your interest is not a very important thing in agricultural production. Irrigation is the only way to go because most of the crops which are produced under rain-fed conditions generally do not do well because right now you understand with the rainfall patterns it's not been very consistent. So in terms of horticultural produce, for example, it is Kisumu County which is surrounded by so many rivers and the huge chunk of the lake in Kisumu County. So this is the right time for the county government to invest in irrigation and leave alone just irrigation as per se. But there's one concept which the county government should take into consideration called drip irrigation. The best thing about drip irrigation is that you can feed the fertilizers, even the chemicals, at one go with water, so that the farmers benefit. And with this, you can be very effective in feeding the crop which matures within a very short period of time.
What do you think about Dominic's?
I think I like it. You see, drip irrigation is very suitable for subsistence farming. And, for example, cane. Cane? You can grow very good cane with drip irrigation in a very limited space. Rather than having a 1 acre pumpkin and depending on the rain and get very low returns, you have maybe a quarter of an acre with planting cane with drip irrigation to get fantastic output. And then it's something that you can harvest continuously. So if you're going to improve the production of vegetables, horticulture, what Dominic is saying, especially with small scale producers, is the best. First, the water. You supply them with these fertilizers under small scale, which doesn't cost them that much. And then the output is very, very high.
Ladies and gentlemen, we just want to thank you for having joined us for the live stream. We also want to thank our guests, also Professor for that wonderful opportunity that we had together in this session. We request you to kindly stay tuned with us as we carry on with our live streaming. Watch out for our next topic. Have a blessed day. Thank you.